There are things I see in hockey, and I think, I should do a video on that, and then it just doesn't happen. And there was something that we've been talking about for the last few days, and I thought about it, and then I was on the hockey news site this morning, and I saw an article, and I thought, you know what? This raises an interesting point. It should be discussed. So I talk a lot about illegal hits, and fighting about illegal hits. And it's always interpreted as he just wants to take hitting out of the game. He doesn't want to see hitting in the game. There's too much hitting in his eyes, right? No. The problem that I have, and this is just me personally, the problem that I have is that when a clean hit takes place, why do you have to fight to defend yourself? In other words, if I hit a Nathan McKinnon, well, why do I have to worry about somebody coming in to say, hey, you can't do that? It's so weird, because it's in the rules that I can. Now, if it's borderline, if it's late, if I hit him a little harder than I had to because I felt like it, I can understand somebody coming in. But I've seen games, and it happens a lot now, where you'll see a guy get hit, it's a clean hit, and then like everybody's going nuts on the bench, and everybody's ready to fight the guy, and it's like, why? And people will say, oh, well, that goes back to the Gretzky days. This is different. This is totally different. Yeah, you weren't allowed to touch Gretzky because Semenko and McSorley, yada, yada, yada. But something's different with the game now. You just can't hit players. Every hit means, and it's not like it's Gretzky either. It could be anybody. Could be anybody. You get a good, clean, open ice hit, and the next thing you know, the other team's ready to have a fight with you. Oh, we're ready. Why? What for? The mentality in hockey of when to fight and when not to fight is constantly being debated. And the honest answer that people don't want is taking fighting out of hockey would just take that gray area out altogether. Fighting in hockey has already been way, way, way cut back from where it was. And we love our enforcers, and we love talking about guys like Gino Odjick and Basil McRae and Bob Probert and John Kordick. But that hockey is kind of gone. I mean, you're not going to get rid of fighting for good, and I'm not talking about banning guys who fight. But I just find it weird. The mentality of one of our guys got hit. We got to go in and defend him. Again, if there's an injury, absolutely. If there's a questionable hit where it looks kind of dirty, or if you're just running a guy over rather than just a simple hit, like that's where I kind of have issue, and I'm not sure how the NHL fixes that. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Guys got the puck. Yes, you can hit him. Do you really have to steamroll him? So there's hitting, and then there's just running the guy over, and it may be completely clean, but it looks kind of. But what I'm seeing with these I got to defend my captain or my teammate is sometimes they're just good clean hits. They're good clean hits, and then you'll see players just come in like crazy people who have to defend the honor of their teammate, and I don't know what you do about that, but it is something that's different than it used to be in the game. We went through the Gretzky era where there wasn't a lot of hitting, and you couldn't hit star players. And then we went through the mucking and grinding dead puck era, the original dead puck era, the mid to late 90s, when everybody got hit all the time. And a guy coming across the ice, yeah, you could lower your shoulder and just drill him because he was in the trolley tracks. So you just drill him as hard as you wanted. I'm not talking about that because that's kind of, for the most part, that's gone. Players kind of seem to understand not to get into that position anyways. I don't see guys going east-west across the blue line as much now as you would have back then. Scott Stevens would just see that and salivate and then run the guy over. But careers were ended that way. So I'm glad that kind of hit's been taken out of the game. Now guys get mad over clean hits. A clean hit. It's not a penalty. And then they run the guy over. And here's the part that I have a problem with, and this is why as a fan we should care. Let's say I'm watching a Canuck game and a Sedin takes a legal hit. Legal hit, Not a problem. Like, I'm not talking, now, for people who've been on this channel for a while, I'm not talking about what happened with Kadri last year. That's one of those ones that I can totally understand, a guy jumping in and fighting and whatnot. But I'm talking about, like, just a good clean hit along the boards. So, one of the Sedins has the puck, good clean hit along the boards. And then, right after that takes place, I'll use Dorsett because he's retired now. I'm just using him as an example. Dorsett skates over, grabs the guy and starts pummeling him. Gets an instigator, thrown out of the game, and now you're killing a penalty on a clean hit you took. It's silly. It's ridiculous. The idea that, well, because there's a clean hit that took place on McKinnon, it has to turn into this thing. Okay. But why? And that's the issue that I have with it. I just feel like the spot that we find ourselves in now is we're kind of at the tail end of the fighting era. And there are those of us who cling to the idea that fighting's still a part of hockey and needs to be a part of hockey. And I think it always will on some level. But it's silly when it's in retaliation for a clean hit. Like, you see retaliation in baseball based on, brushback pitches and hitting a guy with a pitch. I don't remember a lot of incidents taking place because a pitcher got struck out or a guy hit a homer. Now, if you taunt a team after you get a homer, God forbid you do a bat flip. That apparently is just awful. That's like just kicking everybody in the crotch on your way around the bases. I don't understand that one either. See, that's one of those silly things in sports. It's to me it's weird and it's strange and it's got to be a boy thing because I can't see girls getting all upset about that kind of stuff. And then again, girls get upset over other things. Is there a problem with the game? Is the fact that as a player, you can deliver a clean hit and then expect to have somebody come over and fight you about it? If that hit was that egregious that everybody on the bench jumps up and gets angry, shouldn't it be a penalty too? And I can kind of understand if it's Crosby with his injury history and if it looks like he got hit in the head. I can understand getting mad with that. But if it was, say, like on Pittsburgh, was Jake Gensel. Gensel takes a nice clean hit along the boards. Do you want Reeves jumping over the boards and getting into something, getting thrown out of the game, and ending up killing a penalty? It's just weird. And it's one of those things that I think in the grand scheme of things does keep hockey from being seen as one of the big sports to American sports channels. Because it's easier to show just the fights. You don't have to talk about the game, just the fights. Here's a hit, and then a fight breaks out. Look at this big Donnybrook on the ice. Oh, look at this. It looks amateurish. And to me, I don't know how the NHL addresses it. Once a guy like a Zach Ronaldo or like these guys, once they're out of the league, fine. You're still going to have rats. You're still going to have guys who run people over. I don't know how you address this, but it does seem kind of silly to me that after clean hits now, you can be expected to have to defend yourself. And I've heard it said on Hockey Night in Canada a few times. I've heard it said elsewhere. I just figured I'd throw this out there and see what you guys think. Should you, as a guy who's thrown a clean hit, expect to have to defend yourself in a fight for throwing a clean hit? Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through and you just happened upon this channel. And hey, thank you for being out there. It makes it worth being in here.